And welcome back, weirdos. This is episode 7, I believe, of the Weird Austin podcast. We have a pretty interesting episode today, but before we get there, let's go ahead and do our housekeeping. Our sponsor today is Lightning Speed Briefs. Lightning Speed Briefs, the briefs you dream about. All right. And interestingly, Dillon had an idea to kind of flip it on Ron and I. So actually, I'll let him introduce his idea.
So today we're going to be talking about experiences in the military. We have Justin and Ron, both have been in the military 4 years at least, minimum. And so we wanted to see what their life was like before, during, and after. Mostly during.
All right, I'll just introduce, my service. My name is Justin Laney, and I served in the United States Navy between August 23rd, 2008 and August 23rd, 2012. I served 2 combat deployments during Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom on the USS Lincoln.
I'm Ron. How much have I had in the military? Went in 2016. I actually did not re-up, so only did my 2.5 years. Did not do 4 years. No overseas, just stationed at Fort Hood.
Wait, 2016?
Is it 2000? No. When was this? No, 2000. Wow. Brain fart. 2009? No.
Big difference.
96, sorry. Someone needs sleep. 1995, 96. Roughly. Okay, that's when it was. It was around May?
You said Fort Hood?
Fort Hood.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What'd you do there?
Supply specialist. I was 92 Yankee. I was your S4 / your person that ordered everything / handled the armory.
Is there any, weird supplies that you wouldn't expect to be in the military? Anything out of the ordinary?
Not really. It was basically literally everything you needed ordered, whether it be a pen, BDU. BDU is actual military uniform. Underwear or parts for a tank.
Wait, underwear? You didn't bring it? They supplied you underwear?
There was military issued, yes. Brown underwear.
Ew, it was brown?
BVDs, yes.
So you couldn't see if you shit yourself?
That too, yeah.
They give us whitey tighties.
Deadpool, yeah. Wear your red suit, wear your brown suit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whitey tighties?
Yeah, we actually...
y'all are Navy?
Well, yeah, so they're called skivvies.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're just, I guess, regular briefs would be the term. But we had these, basketball shorts type of... we had these basketball short type workout shorts, and people would actually just wear those instead of their underwear. So we actually had an inspection, and our chief was going through, and you have to have everything folded up, and he goes, "Shipmate, why am I counting, 6 or 7 underwear? What are you wearing?" And he's like, and he's like, "What are you wearing?" And he kind of showed him, and he goes, "Nasty recruit, get your ass in the shower." He's like, "Have you ever worn anything else?" He's like, "No."
They're actually comfortable. They're more comfortable than the fucking, the BVDs.
But you wouldn't just be kind of swinging around?
Yeah, that was the thing.
All loosey-goosey?
Exactly. Funny story. I had never changed in front of any other group of people because I was never in any sports teams or anything. So when you first get to boot camp, they literally just say, "All right, strip down and put on your underwear." And I was like, okay. So I got on my underwear and I just paused. And everybody did it, and I was like, and then they were like, "What are you doing, lady? Go ahead." So I just did it real quick, and I put them on. I put my pants over it. Well, I found a day later, I'd put them on backwards. So for the first full day, I had my underwear on backwards. Dude, I didn't even notice. That's how much you have going on. I mean, you don't even notice little stuff like that.
What about when you went to go to the bathroom? You didn't realize that you're...
Dude, we do drink, 8 canteens a day they recommend or something crazy.
Many.
You sweat it all out, though?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We didn't actually sleep for the first day and a half. But it was nice because they call it P days, and you get to wear little pajamas. You're wearing your Smurfs. It's to my understanding they changed it. It's a little bit more athletic now. I think they do kind of like what the Marines do, I guess. It's a little bit more, track-ish instead of sweatpants. But I still got my sweatpants, man, and my sweatshirt, and they're still pretty comfy,
Yeah, mine are all gone. I got rid of that shit.
Really? It's only been 10 years for me, so. Well, it's 6.
Way too long. I don't even know why I said 2016. Jesus. Do you know what birth control is?
Yeah.
Both of you from the military?
The glasses. They're
Yeah.
indestructible.
Okay,
military birth control?
Military birth control is usually when you get to basic training / permanent duty, you get your birth control. It's usually confirmed as your big, thick glasses because they call it birth control because nobody's going to want to fuck you.
Wait, so every recruit gets the glasses?
If you have to wear glasses, yes.
So they make you take out your contacts immediately.
And then they'll literally, here's your birth control. They'll hand it to you and they'll joke and you'll be like, what's birth control? And like maybe 2 months later, oh, that's what birth control is. That's why nobody's fucking me.
A dude in the Army in 2009 told me that they were allowed to keep their cell phones and their contacts. I don't know how accurate that was. Yeah, I don't know, man. But he said he did it. And they didn't let us keep our cell phones. I knew one guy who kept his. And he got in trouble.
Only got my stuff back. Got a CD player when CD players were still around, and cassette player. I think I got that back in AIT about halfway too. AIT is your second portion of military training, at least for the Army. And that was at Fort Lee, West Virginia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if you're in combat and you wear glasses, you just...
No, you usually don't wear glasses. If you're in combat, you usually don't wear glasses. If anything, you're going to have a strap to keep them on, but... You're probably going to have contacts nowadays instead of glasses in combat.
Okay, so military-grade contacts.
Yes.
They bulletproof.
Because if you have something that's going to reverberate or blow out your glasses, it's going to go into your eye.
Yeah. Huh.
You know how they discovered putting glass on your eye was, like, okay, right? Like, I think it was World War II. The pilots kept crashing, and they would just get pieces of glass in their eye. And that's why hard contacts are a thing.
Huh.
You know, they're just refractive, and soft contacts are now easier.
Cockpit window would break, and they're like, whoa, I can see better. Huh. 20/20 vision now.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Well, so if you want to fire away with those questions.
Sure. I mean, like, PT, like boot camp, right? You always get the stare, like, I always think of Full Metal Jacket with the drill sergeant shouting in your face. Do you have any experience like that?
They played quotes over the PA system to be funny at one point. But I guess they have like a certain amount they're allowed to put you through. I don't want to say too much because I don't know what we're allowed to divulge, but yeah, they can't sit there and beat you for hours, man. You know, like that's not. I don't think that would be okay. You know, we wanted it. I mean, we kept asking for more and more. You know, they'd be like, "We're gonna do 20 push-ups." We're like, "Only 20?" And they're like, "All right, 30." Only. All right, shut up. So it wasn't too bad. I got more workout because I liked to talk. So, you know, everyone's dead quiet, and I'd make a joke, and they'd be like, Laney front center, you know, and then I'd be doing, push-ups, sit-ups, 8-count bodybuilders, which are basically burpees with a twist.
Any dying cockroaches?
No, we did sharks where you
yes.
Know, yep. Yeah, so same thing.
And crocodile, then you have the Pac-Mans. And
we sing a song, please, Mr. Shark, don't eat me. Jacked up recruits don't taste so good. We didn't do as much running as I wanted to. We did a lot of marching, of course. I was the PFC. I held
DNC.
The flag, and I woke up every morning, and I had to wake up our guide on and everybody. Sometimes they woke me up, but we were the first people up. You either did that or you cleaned the bathrooms. Those were like the two main things. Yeah, the head. They called them the Dirty Seven. It was so 7 people. The funniest thing is this dude is sneaking in brownies. And so somebody said, like we got brownies in the bathroom.
Basic?
Hot brownies?
In basic, yeah. I think he had brownies.
Like instant death.
And, well, it was funny because this guy was like, dude, we got brownies in the head. And I was like, what? And I ran to the bathroom, and I'm looking, thinking somebody had, like, snuck in brownies. And it was just those crappy brown paper towels that he was talking about that they needed to clean with. So I was like, aw. And then we had another guy who was got caught sleeping by our chief, and he was just kind of like arms crossed, head down, sitting on the toilet. And our chief ran in and was like, what are you doing? He's like, I was praying, chief. He's like, don't bring God into this. He's like, you were sleeping. And he just kept saying he was praying.
On the
like,
toilet.
He's like, I stood there. And he's like, I watched you. You weren't praying. What was anything interesting in boot camp for you?
I could go for an hour.
Oh, please pick a couple.
Let's see. Went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma. That was, I want to say it was May 95? No, May 96. 95 or 96, one of those. But yeah, basic training was fun. It was Oklahoma during summertime,
Ooh.
tornado season 2.
Wow.
I have too many stories. I think the most one that stands out, we did have a guy we had 2-story buildings. The bottom ground story was actually for the laundromat. Second floor, ours was second floor for my platoon. Third floor was for the next platoon. I think the biggest, funniest one is, I guess, the platoon up above us. They had some guy, and it was about a month in, he wanted to get out of basic, so he jacked off and filled up his canteen. This was discovered upon inspection. They didn't know what it was until he fessed up, yeah.
Oh.
I think there was another guy that was in my platoon. He apparently lived right off of base normally, and he wanted to get out, so I still don't know how he did this. I think it was like 4 months in. Basic training at the time was currently about 8 weeks. I think 4 weeks in, they opened up his foot lock. Or not, we had wall lockers there. We had we had wall lockers. We didn't have foot lockers. We had wall lockers. But somehow he had gotten his stuff really damp and left it in there, and the whole thing started to grow mold inside of the whole thing. It was just a cabinet of mold inside it, because we were like, it's stinking, and it was locked by his own lock, and they didn't cut it open until like a month after he went AWOL from basic training.
Wow.
And it was like, yeah, you've got a whole entire closet full of mold.
That's terrible.
We had 2 soap parties.
Wait, hold up. Let's go back to the first story.
First story, yeah.
A whole canteen.
Yeah.
Like,
he had been going for about a month.
like 16...
32 ounces?
32 ounces.
Yeah, you're talking about your typical... No, this is just regular green canteen, sir.
Yeah.
So-and-so.
That's like 32 ounces.
That's a lot.
Considering they also give you saltpeter there, too.
What was he drinking out of?
We don't... Well, you're given 2. So, yeah.
What?
Okay.
Why was he doing this?
To get out of basic training.
There's so many...
You'd be surprised the thing that people do to get out.
Oh, yeah.
Once they get there, they're like, I don't want to be in this.
Yep.
And you're like, you can't, you're in contract. And like, I need out.
Yep.
And
We had to go walk out completely, like you said. He walked all the way to the front base in his Smurfs.
Mm-hmm.
And this guard just went, what are you doing? And he's like, okay. And just turned around and came back. And then we had 2 guys use our razors to cut themselves.
Oh, shit.
And then the third guy walked up after a week and was like, I'm thinking of cutting myself. Can I get out? And they're like, you better go back and either commit or get your ass back in line.
yeah, they'll send you to MHMR and trying to discourage you from getting out
Yeah.
of basic training.
It's not too bad, honestly. Like, deployment is a lot more lonely than basic training. You know?
Yeah, my basic training was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
I'm saying it's a short amount of time compared to having a 6 to 7 month deployment.
8 weeks goes by pretty slow.
It does. It did.
I want to say the last 2 months went by quick. But the beginning of it's kind of like, what is sleep?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do. Our platoon, we were lucky. We had a good drill sergeant, Williams, blackest man I've ever seen still. Then we had another drill sergeant, Williams, which is the biggest guy. Well, it was funny because, I mean, at the time it was weird to see a really big build guy in BDUs, because you're like, if you flex, it's just going to shred.
Yeah.
But he was stacked. But he was like maybe 5'4".
We had an RDC like that. He would just sit there at 90 degrees in a push-up and just like watch all of his struggle.
Yeah. But yeah, he was awesome. It was funny though, the first day. That's the opening story, I guess. When we first initially go through our in-processing, it's 2 days and usually a week when they determine where you're going, what unit, platoon, whatever. In Fort Sill, we went on cattle trucks, literal cattle trucks that they would use to transport cattle. They were obviously retired. They weren't used for cattle at the time.
The trailers with
Yes.
the holes in the sides so
Yes.
they can breathe. And so y'all just sat in the
So
back
it's like
there?
the horror story that they kept on telling us. Yeah, when you get in there, you're going to see your drill sergeant. He'll be sitting there in the back, and that's exactly what happened. Drill Sergeant Williams is just sitting back there, sitting in the back, and he's just literally hunched over, just looking over, and everybody's literally just keeping the space around him. They don't even sit near him, and everybody's just getting quiet. And then literally the horror story is literally as soon as you hear the tracks, when the thing goes over the tracks over into the basic training area, that's when they start up. And that's pretty much literally what happened. He just got in everybody's face, and it was just funny to see this guy because he had no voice. So hey, is this literally rasping everybody? Pushing his brim from his drill sergeant cap into everybody, and everybody first didn't really know to take him seriously, and then about 3 other drill sergeants were let in. So, and they literally just get in your face, yell at you, might push you around a little bit. It was fun.
Huh.
At least for me. I look back, I'm like a little scared, but I'm like, if they hit me, there's more of us than them.
Yeah, they would.
I want to say it got really interesting. I think the 7th month of basic training, a 4th of our platoon could have died. I actually prevented, somebody decided to bring one of the fuses from the live grenade range into the barracks. We don't know how he snuck it in still. He's sitting there in front of his footlocker with it open with his legs in a V, rolling it back and forth. I tell her, we actually had a reserve drill sergeant. That's another story. He freaked us out because like he's literally in the reserves, but he's a drill sergeant. He came in the first day, is like a fucking alien. He was like literally, he's like, "Hey, how y'all doing?" And we're like, "Why are you friendly? What are you? Who are you?" And the next day, I think Drill Sergeant Williams he told me, he's like, "Hey, they're in basic training. They're not permanent duty." But I informed Drill Sergeant Nichols about it, and he was like, "Yeah." And he went and they had to blow up the fuse and everything. They discharged that guy. But literally, if he had the casing for it, and if I didn't report it, dead. He slept literally across the way from me in the basic. Yeah, that was interesting. I was like, okay.
Can we not play with grenades?
Well, you're not supposed to. They search you. They search us when we leave.
Yeah.
When we go into the field or whatever, where it's for live ammo, live grenade.
They account for every single
and
round,
when
too.
you come back out, they search you. It's almost a strip search. And we're like, where the fuck did you have this thing? But he had...
How big was the thing?
He had kind of...
What's it?
Well, the fuse is probably about yay.
Right, but how big around?
It's like your finger.
I think we know where he stored it.
Yeah, but it was some people had guessed that he lost it because he was mute most of the time, and he was a big guy too. He was built, but he would always crack his neck and everything, and just sit there and roll on his neck and everything. And we're like, okay, yeah, he's one of those that's lost it in basic training.
We had a dude who said he was a werewolf and his girlfriend was a vampire. He's the one of the guys who cut himself. And he carried a vial of his girlfriend's blood around his neck. Somehow he got that
What?
in. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So,
LARPing too much.
I know, and this was 2008, so he was early.
That's metal.
But if you really want
Holy
to see
shit.
what I went through, they have a really good video on YouTube. It's like the first couple of days. And just like you said, I mean, you're on the bus, and then like the second you pull up, it just changes. Yeah, we had a bus. But yeah, and then they say, stand on the tow line. But I remember I was so disrespectful right before we got there. This girl came out. She was wearing her, not like dress, but like her work uniform. And she only had a couple of, probably just like her McDonald's ribbon and maybe her sharpshooter. And I don't think she was a sharpshooter. And she was just like, you guys are all going to hate going there. And I'm like, it can't be that bad. She's like, you don't know what you're in for. I'm like, really? She's like, I'm going to tell him to give it to you extra hard. And I'm like, what, did you just graduate like last week? Are you waiting to leave? Is that why you're here? And like her face looked so sad and I felt so bad. I guess she was like LLD, like you hurt yourself or like you're waiting on a medical. So that's what they do. They kind of use those graduates to corral people.
Yeah.
And I knew one guy who was on mental check because he snuck porn in. And then he snuck porn in again whenever he was like in a separate barracks for those people.
Sounds like an addiction.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a magazine, but I didn't know they actually had
coping.
He was coping. Yeah, but like I said, boot camp wasn't terrible, but yeah, it's a lot more psychological than it was physical for us.
Mine was both. I actually had a third or fourth weekend. I had to go on what's called a dead man's profile. I kept on telling myself it was 12 feet up until about 5 years ago. Then I started doing the gauge distance. It was probably over a 20-foot fall onto my back.
Wow.
I lived.
How
Huh?
did it happen?
Ironically, it was our first big FTX, field training exercise, basically just going through obstacle courses, an all-day thing. It was pretty awesome. We had to march out there. The march was about an hour. It had been raining before, so we got to the obstacle, typical through the tires. I think one, we had to climb the rope up probably 10 feet, then back down. And this is not a knotted rope. You actually had to use your feet and your arms and everything. Then the thing that sucked about that is after that, you had to rappel over a river.
Oh, wow.
And it had just rained, so it was pretty fast moving. Luckily, they had 2 drill sergeants in the water. I was actually surprised on how well they took care of us, even though they were fucking yelling at us too. So I go halfway over that thing. I want to say the distance in yards, let's say maybe 30.
Wait, rappel.
You're hanging upside down.
Yeah.
So you have to literally hang upside down and shimmy over the river.
Wow.
Huh.
It was essentially like a small river.
How many people were in your platoon?
Upper 20, maybe 30.
Really?
That's just one platoon, yeah.
We had 80, and we ended up, like, not... I think 72, 73 people ended up making it.
So I want to say we had mid-20s. I want to say mid-20s. I really don't remember the exact number. We really didn't have that many. We had a small platoon.
Okay.
So they were able to individually nitpick everybody.
Wow.
But, going across the water, I got halfway down, had muscle failure in the chest. I could not, because I already used all my muscles climbing the rope beforehand. So fell in, got out, I'm soaking wet. So then the next obstacle one was low crawling underneath barbed wires. That was easy, through mud. But then the next one was a cargo net climb, at least 25 feet tall, up a tower. The cargo net was not taut, so you'd sunk in. So get on top of that, our drill cadet's up there. A drill cadet's a lieutenant in training, but is also doing the drill sergeant thing. Low crawl across that thing, which is not that far. Then on the way down, apparently somebody had fallen before me. He got his arm caught in the net. He had a hairline fracture in above his wrist heading to his forearm, and then below the elbow heading into his forearm. He had hairline fractures on both of those. I got literally from the top, legs are planted, left hand is holding, right hand is going down to grab the net so I can hold myself. Left hand slips off because I'm still wet, and literally I'm just free falling off that thing. It was awesome because I landed and it was like, yeah, he's dead. And I was like, nope. Yeah.
Oh, good.
What was weird is, like, even during that, I still had all the basic training instincts, which is the drill sergeants. Are you okay? Whit, are you okay? It's like, drill sergeant, yes, drill sergeant, because first words, last words.
Right.
And then literally at that point, they started corralling everybody around that obstacle. Looking back on it, I think it was like a year later, I was like, they had wood finish on that obstacle. Wood finish is water resistant. So you touch it and you're wet, you slip.
Jeez.
But yeah, then after that, I think for 2 to 4 weeks, I was on a dead man's profile. It was 2 or 3. And they kept on saying, because basically if you fail your basic training test or you give up, they'll give you a chance to either get recycled, which is you do kitchen duty or whatever until the next basic training starts up, then you have a chance to go back in and they just reinsert you in as normal. Mm-hmm. They usually go a little bit lighter on you. But it was funny because they was like, well, you're going to go home. And we actually got to go in front of the first sergeant that day too. And he's like, you want to go home? And I was like, no. Yeah. But it was pretty cool. But the other guy stayed on. I think he graduated also. I graduated, ironically, about 3 people that said I was not going to pass my PT test failed and they got recycled, which was awesome. Because, I mean, it was even hilarious from our drill sergeant Williams, the one that was black. He was maybe 5'4" also. Awesome guy, really awesome guy. But he'd always joke, he was like, wait, you passed your PT test. He'd always just go on about that. He'd just randomly, wait, you passed. Because he was just still amazed, I think, himself about it, too. Because he was like, you basically almost broke your back, or almost broke your back. Didn't break anything, just had it's just still a severe muscle strain.
Jeez.
That's all it was, luckily.
Do you still feel anything?
No. I want to say, like, 5-6 years ago when I started working out again, it pretty much went away.
Wow.
But during that duration, during the military and after I got out of the military, when I was becoming more of a fat ass, it was hurting. Like, I could sit down for an hour, starts to hurt. Stand up for an hour, starts to hurt. But after working out, it pretty much worked itself out.
We got asthma back. That's what, like, you're recycling. Mm-hmm. We called it asthma, and the biggest thing was people who couldn't swim.
Wow.
So my recruiter was like, I'm not racist, but you're going to see a lot of black people who can't swim. And I'm like, that's messed up, dude. But he was right. There was one guy who, and our chief actually taught people to swim by saying, actually it was our senior chief, and he had a Hitler mustache, and he was very tall, and he looked very similar to Hitler. And he was like, when you're doing the breaststroke, it's just like you're slapping titties. You're just slapping titties. And so it worked. And this one guy was so close to failing, like the last day before we graduated, he passed the swim test. And what they did for us...
What was the time?
I don't think it's a time thing. You just got to float. You got to use your coveralls to get water in them and then use that as a flotation device. And then you jump off of the 10-foot, 15-foot... not diving board, but platform. And the funny thing was they take your birth control glasses and they just give you a piece of tape and you write your name and you're like, why? You'll find out.
Yeah.
You just hit the water and then you're just blind immediately because your glasses are now just sinking to the bottom. So I'm like blind with water in my eye trying to swim forward and I make it. And they're like, good. Now go fish out your glasses. So that was, But did they ever give you guys any time off? They give us like an hour for Sunday to write stuff. I know you're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No.
Yes, we had an hour off.
The only time you had off was if you volunteered to go to churches, and they actually had Wiccan churches and all the other religious churches. But even then, that was a hassle because you'd go there for 30 minutes and then you're done.
Yeah.
And you come back. I think we had our weekends where we had off,
right?
Which was not off because you'd still wake up, do PT, go to chow hall, then come back and you'd have time for your laundry. Then you would still go marching around the whole entire base doing PT.
Yeah, I mean, I just meant like, did you have Sundays to have services? Well, eventually, after a couple of weeks, guys started just staying and just like either showering or like folding their clothes or shining their boots. And one dude shined his boots super nice. And then our recruiter's like, you think you're better than everybody? Everyone line up, kick his boots.
Yeah, you never, in at least basic training, AIT, even in permanent duty, you never shine your boots better than your superior. You always want to make sure they look okay. But
the funniest thing that happened to me was this guy I knew. He was like a shorter white guy with like blonde hair. And for some reason, we were getting close to graduation, and he wanted to shave his stuff just in case he found a lady. So
dumbass.
He come running out, and my bed's right next to the head. And he literally slides out like Kramer. And he's like, yo, I shaved my junk! And looks up, and our senior chief is standing right in front of him. And like, so if you get like facial bumps, you get a shave chip, or no shave chip. So you can, grow your beard out a little bit. Otherwise, it just, you can get ingrown hairs. So our chief looks down and goes, shipmate, do you have a shaved chip for that thing? And he's like, no. He goes, it better grow back by tomorrow. He just walked away. The dude's just standing there butt naked holding his razor in shock. It was ridiculous, man.
We had that in, at least for Fort Sill, because it was Oklahoma, and this is summertime. We had literally, I think we had 4 or 5 people get fined in basic training. They straight edged their head. You can't do that in the summer.
Wow.
A few of them got sunburned. But yeah, they got fined. You get fined for damaging government property.
Really?
Yes. And that was also, I think, at that time was the first time I've ever seen somebody get blisters on their lips. But a guy, Wayland, I can't remember his first name. He was not albino, but he was extremely white. Yeah, he got blisters on his lips.
Wow.
It was kind of weird.
We had a guy with asthma, really bad asthma. It was like sports induced, and he ended up freaking out during like a really long PT session, interior PT session, and he was like, Brown, are you okay? And the guy's like, I don't know, and he's like, are you gonna die? I don't know. You don't know what the. And they sent him off, and he come back like 2 days later, and I guess at one point he got dental work because he had, I don't know how, but his teeth were like, it looked like he ate a pack of Oreos, man. Like I don't know, yeah. But he came back with like full teeth, and like it looked nice, and he was like, yeah, I was in bed rest and I got to watch the news. So we're like, what's the world like out there, man? But yeah, he ended up making it, man. We had 3 Browns, and he was the one who had terrible asthma. And he was like, would you lie? Oh, and then we had one guy who was a nuke. And at the moment of truth, all right, is there anything you guys want to tell us? And he's like, I smoked marijuana before. And they're like, you just lost your security clearance, man. You're going to be something else. And
what's a nuke?
Nuclear technician. I don't know what exactly. There's different types.
Yeah, it's You have to get clearance for that stuff.
But, yep, he volunteered his clearance away by raising his hand. Yep.
Yeah, going back on how you said you had, the weird people. Remember, we had one guy, he stuck out a lot. He's a younger black guy, really timid. I think he got booted out because they possibly found that he was just mentally incapable. He didn't seem special ed, but literally the drill sergeant in his face, he would do like Flower from Bambi, like just like looking away and like rubbing his foot in the ground, just like all timid and everything. And they were like, "What is wrong with you, dude?" It was like, you have an enemy coming up to you, you're doing that, you're dead. And yeah, I think it was like the last 3 weeks, I think he disappeared. He just disappeared. I think they pulled him to the side and out-processed him because he was just, really touched.
He's a what?
Touched in the head.
Oh.
He was just literally, he would do the PT and everything, he would chit-chat, but when it came to the drill sergeants, he was just giddy.
Oh, like he wasn't scared. He
wasn't scared. He was just like he would like smile and look down and be like, yeah, and just like, what are you doing, dude? And I was like, you're supposed to be here in training. You're supposed to like be psychologically training you for this stuff, for combat, and you're not taking to it. I'm like, if you have an enemy running up to you with a gun or whatever, or they're going to want to kill you with their bare hands, you can't just look down at the ground and being all timid. I'm like,
yeah. Show me your war face.
Yeah, I think it was one of the guys. I really don't remember his name.
Oh.
There was another guy, side story, we were doing DNC, and this is towards the end of doing DNC, drilling in cadence, marching, rifles, everything, bayonets attached, whatever. But we had one guy, I don't remember his name, I remember what he looks like. So we had goalie leading out to our flat top concrete area next to the building. It was he got called to the side because he could not do the rhythm thing at all. So he's working with our drill cadet.
What's the rhythm thing?
Knowing how to march, knowing how to shoulder your rifle, knowing when to what was some of the in cadence stuff? You're lifting. And there was another one that was like left cadence. It was not quite a left turn, march.
Left face.
It was you were curving your march. I don't remember what the damn command for that is. But
guide right? I don't know.
I don't remember. I think that was it. That sounds like it. But he'd been training with the drill cadet for about 20 or 30 minutes. Then they hand him back over to the drill sergeant. So he decides for about 3 minutes to call our drill sergeant drill cadet. He had to go on sick call the next day. He had him low crawling through that gully, and it's almost a V, and there was grass stuff in there. His front forearms were bloody. It was like all scabbed up and everything. He had to be on sick call and take pain medication, all because he was calling the drill sergeant drill cadet. And they kept him going. It was funny. I remember that vividly. I was like, damn, dude, why don't you just stop? Why didn't you just pick a different clearing? He didn't. He chose his own area where he decided to do that stuff. I think he did the low crawling an hour, at least. Up and down. Yeah.
I don't think anyone's ever gotten taken out like that, like for specific training. Like I said, I mean, they'd pull us out at the end of the day if we did something wrong, but nothing like that. And we didn't sandwich anything. We would just say petty officer or chief. And some people would go, yes, petty chief. And he'd be like, I'm not a petty chief.
I liked it because we had people who would try to sneak food in. Man, they would never do it again.
Yeah.
Luckily, when people started doing that, it was, you have your first 2 weeks, it's everybody's, as a group, is disciplined. Then after that, they start going to individual nitpicking disciplining. That's in, you're getting smoked, as it's called, in at least the Army.
We say beat.
Which is basically, you're going to do push-ups till I get tired of looking at you do push-ups.
Yeah.
Or whatever I want you to do that's physical training.
Yeah.
And you're required to do it. But yeah, the people that would sneak food, they would probably get at least 2 days worth of smoking.
Oh, wow.
At least. And they would never do it again, ever.
We had a guy get packed up. I don't know what he did. I can't remember, but he was like really kind of a goofy guy. And our RDC legitimately pulled everything out of his, coffin lock, his rack, and was just like, "You're going home." And he's like, "No." And he starts crying. He's like, "Start doing push-ups now." And like this dude was dripping sweat. Like it was like 45 minutes of just that.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, I know, but comparatively. But no, about your guy who can't march, we had a guy named Diallo, and I don't know if he was African, but he kind of had a very happy accent, and he was a very nice guy. And this guy, our chief, would walk up to him, and like instead of keeping his shoulders, he would kind of like power walk, and our chief is like, "What are you doing, Diallo?" And he's like, "I'm walking, chief." And he's like, "No, we're marching." And he's like, "What the hell is that?" And he's like, "I'm marching, chief." And he's like, "Do you bebop like that when you're at your house?" And he's like, "Yes, chief." And he's like, "What? We're not here." And like our chief was trying to be hard on him, and he was just such a kind guy who just didn't get it, and he ended up finally getting it. But I just love that. "Do you bebop like that at your house?" "Yes, chief." "Well, not here."
Yeah, we call that people doing the Frankenstein.
Yep.
When you do your left foot forward, right arm goes forward, left hand is going back.
Yeah.
And people would go left leg forward, left arm forward, right arm forward, right leg forward, and it's just kind of like looking like Frankenstein. Or like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Our quiet guy slid through. I remember our 6th week, we had a guy who was I think our 3rd flag carrier. And our chief is like, "All right, flags, come on." We're all talking. And he just pauses. He looks at this guy. He looks around. He's like, "Are you new?" And he's like, "No, chief." And he's like, "You been here the whole time?" He's like, "Yes." He's like, "How the fuck do one of you guys always just slip by me, man?" And he's like, "Did I do something wrong?" He's like, "No, but I've got my eye on you now."
I think the other funny ones, our drill cadet was hilarious. He was maybe 20, 21.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I was 21 at the time. He was really young. He wore glasses. Drill Cadet Radke, I think was his name. Cool guy. It was just hilarious when he would try to act angry because you could tell it was 100% fake. But the most funniest thing, and literally our drill sergeant let us get away with it, he still had a cracking voice.
Oh, no.
So we would do pyramids, which is pyramid exercises. We do push-ups, whatever, calisthenics, anything like that. Jumping jacks and all that. And he would just be calling it out in the morning, and this is like pitch black in the morning at 4 a.m. We're doing PT. Like, "Okay, for the pyramid, we're going to do a pyramid of 20?
Oh,
and it wasn't because he was losing his voice. He was literally still having a cracked voice, and everybody in the platoon eventually was just starting to make fun of him during just that PT session. But he owned up to it, but it was just, man, the drill sergeants let that go so good. Yeah.
Ours was the opposite, dude. Our dude was badass. He was a Seabee, and that was the guy that's breaking 90, just holding them push-ups. And one day at the end of boot camp, he's like, "All right, now I'm going to take off my hat. And when I take off this hat, I'm a regular person. But the second I put it back on, I'm going to kick all y'all's asses, okay? You can ask me anything you want." We're like, "Okay." And I won't call his name out, but somebody said something like, "Did you ever lose any friends?" And he goes, "No, I never lost my M16 at all." We're
Yeah.
like, "What?" "Yeah, dude." And then he went on this tangent about going through a fence that was barbed wire and then putting a claymore behind it. It was just a parable for how we need to be prepared, and just always cover our steps. And then he said something else about it. It kind of always stuck with me. He said never get comfortable. He's like, even when you're sitting down, even if you're laying down, never get comfortable, because when you're comfortable, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
And man, he was great. And then he put his cap back on and proceeded to whoop our asses for an hour in PT.
I think that was the craziest thing is what our drill sergeant got a hold of. He was looking through all our files, but he found out that I was going to become Armory S4. He's like, "Whit, I got something for you." This is our third FTX, field training exercise. And this is our simulated one, which was kind of fun because we got to go against the officers in training. So basically the game, and we didn't know it at the time, but we figured it out. So we were out there for 3 days, typical field stuff. And the officers training portion was to get into our area and either take or plant stuff. It was very fun because we start hearing the whistlings and night noises, and we're like, birds aren't awake at this time. And they started to do that. Then we had blank rounds, but we were told, "Hey, if you see something and it's fishy, fire at it."
Oh God!
So yeah, we had stuff like that going on. But yeah, I think we caught two officers trying to infiltrate. It was pretty. Yeah.
Sounds
It was
kind of
fun. It was fun as fuck. Just don't go to the bathroom. The two that we had were infested with black widows. It's quite hilarious.
Oh, jeez.
Just use a tree.
Yeah, all we did was we just dug fucking what was it called? K-holes? I forgot what they were called. No, not a K-hole. But I forgot what they were called fucking back then. Then, going back to...
K-bar?
I don't remember what it was called. We had our foxhole, then there was the fucking shitholes that we had to dig to for going to the bathroom. I forgot what we called those. But, they decided to stick me with the fucking M60 to lug around because they're like, you're going to become armory. Get used to this. And I'm like, what is this? It's like, it's an M60. And I'm like... And it's heavy. It's probably 30 pounds. I had to have that and my rucksack, and that's packed with about 20 pounds also.
Jeez.
That was the worst part of my FTX because I was like, what is going on? I'm going to die.
Did you ever get to shoot it?
Yes.
Oh.
That was fun. The only thing I didn't like about it is that obviously the round area gets extremely hot because it's an old fucking machine. But yeah, I was trying to change the rounds out of that and getting coached on that, and I was like, I'm going to burn my hand off. Mm. But it was hot. But no, I got to fire that motherfucker. It was like shooting a fucking laser, dude. It was awesome. When I got permanent duty, I got more hands-on with it. It was fun with that. We even had one of our drill sergeants in basic training. He got to show off his skills because he was armory also. I think he disassembled it in like 40 seconds.
Wow.
And then putting it back together and all that. Yeah.
So we've gabbed a lot about basic training. Did you have any specific questions, Dillon?
Next thing I wanted to know about was pranks. You know, you hear about guys pulling pranks on each other.
Sure, definitely. I already have one. AIT. This is afterwards. So AIT is West Virginia. One of my bunkmates at the time was Private Beal. Then I think he got transferred 2 bedrooms down. Wasn't really a prank, more or less him fucking up. The drill sergeant did a prank on him, I guess I should say. Drill sergeant... I don't remember his name. I don't remember the drill sergeant's name from AIT. Drill Sergeant Jenkins. That's what it was, Drill Sergeant Jenkins. This is during graduation morning. Like, if you don't show up for this, you don't graduate. Right. You have to wait for the next graduation show. They were fucking with him hard because they went in there and they were doing the last inspection for our rooms ever.
Oh, no.
Then we hear, and this is a co-op, so we had females and men.
Right.
And we hear literally go, holy shit! Private Beal, what the fuck is this? Private Beal, what is this? And he had close to probably 30 porn magazines under his mattress. And I do not exaggerate.
It's a library.
It was a shit. And we were like, where the fuck did he... Because there was a PX down the street, but we were like, how did you get this many in 6 weeks? The fuck are you doing? And... He orders him just wearing his shirt, and this is West Virginia around late September, so it's 20 degrees tops out in the morning. Orders him in his regular white shirt and boxers to go to chow hall. Drill sergeant, I need my ID. Fuck that, go to chow, eat! So the chow hall people won't let you in unless you have your ID. They won't let him in, so he goes back and forth, which is probably at least a 5-block walk to and from for about 30 minutes.
Jeez.
Wearing nothing but a shirt.
Shirt and boxers. So they get tired of that, so Drill Sergeant Jenkins got the idea, fuck it. So they busted out the giant, big old gray trash can at the base floor, and this is a 2 or 3 story tall barracks. And it's represented as like a living thing. So everybody coming in and leaving gets to see him ripping up page by page of every porn mag. And we're all looking at him like, he is not going to graduate today. They got him there 20 seconds before he had to walk the stage. I shit you not. It was hilarious. He was fucking turning white as a sheet. But he was scared shitless. It was pretty funny. Yeah, Drill Sergeant Jenkins was an okay guy. I think my favorite joke from his is his bird joke, which is, there's no correct way to answer it. It's like, you like birds? Do you like birds?
Sure.
Yeah, you like this bird too? And he would flip people off, and if you don't like birds, he'd still flip you off. Well, you don't like this bird too, and he'd do it just to random people. If he was smoking us or we were doing PT, hey you! And it's literally like that's what they call you in the military most of the time, at least for your training. And some random person would always look. Then his other one, he's always asked the female recruits, "Hey, did you shave this morning?" And it's like, I hope you didn't. Yeah. Fuck with the
Jeez.
females. I learned after I got to permanent duty, I think a year afterwards, he got let go because he was sleeping with some of the females.
Oh no!
In
So
AIT.
maybe he was really asking if they shaved that
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's actually the biggest funny thing from AIT.
Any pranks for you in the Navy?
Yes, I was pranked once. We'll get to that. But to talk about our RDCs didn't actually. They were the complete opposite whenever it came to females. I think the worst description I ever heard was, he's like, "These are your sisters in uniform. Why would you want to sleep with your sister?" And this dude's like, "Well, my sister could get it then." And then he walked up to him and looked up and down and he goes, "You like grilled cheese sandwiches?" And he's like, "Why?" And he goes, "You know how you like to shower back at home compared to here?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, you know how women like to shower compared to here?" He's like, "They're getting no more time than you are. That's a grilled cheese sandwich, homie. Crusty on the outside and gooey on the inside." And I was like, Jesus Christ. This is terrible. Yeah, dude, they were very descriptive.
Terrible.
But to make myself the butt of the joke, I'll go ahead and tell probably the funniest thing that happened to me. I just got back from my first deployment, and, I'm drinking a little bit of hanging out, and my phone goes off. And I look down, and I'm at the smoke pit, just smoking. And I look down, and there's a cock on my screen. Oh, what the fuck? I swipe off. I'm like, okay. Bring! Comes up. "Hey, girl, what's up?" I'm like, what the hell? Bring! "Hey, yo, girl, what's going on?" Bring! "Hey, girl, what's up?" I'm like, what the fuck is going on,
You got your number
dude?
in the bathroom.
No, man, worse. They put my number on Craigslist. Horny sailor girl. Been out of here 7 months. Been on a boat. Need some good dicking. And I look over, and my friends are just looking out the window, just like busting out laughing. They're like, "Yo, get any interesting calls lately?" I'm like, fuck you. They immediately took it down, but dude, it was like a good 25 minutes of just my phone blowing up. It's just dick pictures and shit.
Oh my god.
But dude, we had a guy that we legitimately all just disliked because this man, no lie, said, "I'm from Puerto Rico, and I'm only in the military because I killed somebody with my bare hands during a UFC match, and Puerto Rico sent me to America to become a United States sailor." And we're like,
What?
okay. Yeah, and he'd say stuff like, we bought a bottle of Bacardi, and I put a couple of Jolly Ranchers in it just because apparently that's supposed to make it taste better. All of a sudden, this bottle's in his room, and it's half gone. And his roommate came up, my buddy Saunders, and he's like, "Hey, man, is this yours?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Why is this in your room?" And he goes, "He had it in his fridge. He'd come walking in, 'Hey, who took my bottle?' I said, 'Dude, that's my bottle. What are you talking about?' 'Well, I mean, my uncle did create Bacardi.'" "Huh?" "Yeah, he owns Bacardi."
He was one of those.
Yeah, dude, no lie. So we would just talk mad shit. But we got him. One of the first weeks he was there, he was drinking everybody's sodas out of the fridge. So my friend got a brand new 16-ounce, sipped a little bit out, and just dumped Visine into it.
Oh.
Yeah, so we all went out on the flight line. We came back, and then I'll say his name.
No, that's all good.
Well, we called him Rico. We called him
From
Rico.
Puerto Rico.
He called himself Rico.
Was he suave?
No, he was not. Anyway,
Cool.
he was in the bathroom for a good 45 minutes. We're like, "You all right, bro?" Like, "Yeah." "So you haven't seen that Coke, have you?" "No, why?" But you said you had 2 soap parties. We only had one, apparently, and I slept through it. This bigger dude had called us out for something, and they Ricky Ninja'd him, man. They put on their masks. They give us ski masks, and they all just beat the hell out of the dude. Yeah.
I think they had the first soap party I was awake for. The second one I actually slept through. Poor guy, he volunteered to get out, I think, 2 days later. It literally looked like somebody took charcoal things and just rubbed all over his body. They fucking beat the...
What's the soap part? Is that
soap
like
party is you put your soap in a sock.
Oh, like in Full Metal
Exactly
Jacket.
like that, and that's what they did to him.
Oh my god.
I think one time they were going to try and fuck with me, and they decided not to just because of my sheer size. And they're like, "Yeah, he'll probably kill one of us." That, and I think at that time, I was the only person, and I think my drill sergeant realized it, I was crazy enough to actually disobey the drill sergeant to their face in private. So I did that. I was so tired after that. I think it was that FTX from carrying that M60. And literally like, well, we're having final inspection and everything. And I was like, you have to prepare yourself. I was like, my wall lockers are already prepared. I just want to go to sleep. I slept for like 30 minutes standing up with my forehead in a corner. And then they reported me the drill sergeant. And I was like, I just needed to sleep. Because if not, I was going to start hurting people. I was a bit crazier. I was shitload crazier back then.
Yeah, it seems like you've calmed down.
Like me, I would literally, if somebody would to get in my face like that, even at Walgreens now or whatever, I would manhandle them. They would be like, I'm running, I'm leaving. And I used to be like that. I would fucking beat the shit out of people that would.
I remember that lady who called you and Carmen racist, and you were like, and then you just paused mid-breath and went, Carmen, I need to go to the back before I hurt somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's nuts, man.
Because I'll only just ragdoll people. Yeah, just thinking about it.
So what would someone have to do to earn a soap party?
Soap party, I think the guy that we had, what was he doing? I think he was ratting out people. He was ratting out people that were, I guess, stealing food. And you still, even in basic training in AIT and even perimeter, you kind of don't really rat out people. You try to find a way to be like, hey, don't steal food, dude. You approach them directly. You don't turn them into the superior. You actually take the matters into your hand. And he reported like 4 people that were stealing food. And then the drill sergeant's like, hey, I'm going for the weekend. If anything happens, I don't know anything. And shit like that. Literally out of the drill sergeant's mouth, like that shit. And we're like, oh, fuck.
Bye-bye.
And we're like, and they did it again. And I was like, who are they going to go after this time? And I don't even remember who they went after. I think they tried the soap party and it kind of failed. I don't remember the second one. I was asleep. Even thinking about that with the sleeping stuff. The funniest thing in basic training is you will have people have drill sergeant nightmares.
Huh.
I had one guy, I was on fire call.
He's right.
And I'm coming out the right wing of the restrooms because they were all connected. For 2 different big giant restrooms, different showers and everything. But I'm coming through and this guy is having a nightmare. Like he was like full on screaming. He's like, hey dude, wake up. You're fine, man. And he literally sits up. He's like, drill sergeant, yes, drill sergeant. And he literally just lies back down and goes to sleep. And I was like, God damn.
We'd yell attention on deck when people were sleeping and they'd just shoot up. No, we had this guy. I was on watch one day and I'm walking around. And I want to say that's the night where the clocks rolled back. So I went from a 4-hour watch to a 5-hour watch and I was so mad. But this dude, no lie, is just like laying in bed and you just hear, oh, Jessica. Oh, Jessica. And we're like, what? So I'm like kind of nudging my buddy as we like lean over and he's like, Jessica? so I see him in the morning and I went, hey man, how's Jessica? And he's like, huh? I was like, yeah, your girlfriend Jessica, right? He's like, my girlfriend's name's not Jessica. And I'm like, you were moaning Jessica in your sleep. And he goes, what? Really? Like, yeah. I was like, who? Jessica Alba? He's like, it must be. I don't even fucking know Jessica, dude.
He's like, what is that, his girlfriend's sister?
Oh, no. But yeah, and that was really it. I was so tired one night. Apparently, this guy was selling Percocets. He had gotten his molars removed. And he was buying Percocets from people and then selling them for like a higher rate or something. Or had his own, I don't remember. But yeah, they came through. They ripped everything out of his locker, searched everything, threw him out, PT'd him and some other guy that was selling to him. And then here I am like an hour later. I get woken up for watch and I'm like, guys, we're missing 2 people.
Oh, shit. Yeah, you do the head count.
Yeah. You don't know what happened? I was like, no. And they're like, how the fuck did you sleep through that? I was like, I don't know. But that was actually, the guy ratted him out. That's the guy they whooped his ass. I was like, people do that? Oh my gosh.
It's for the permanent duty wise, I can say I had nothing eventful.
I had a guy attack a petty officer. He was super drunk, and this guy was the barracks officer, like barracks petty officer, and he was watching over our barracks for us. And he was just sitting down there watching TV, hanging out. And he came running in. And he was just like, "You fucking stole my beer!" And he's like, "Excuse me? I haven't left this room." And he's like screaming at him. And my other buddy, came out, and we're just like, "Let's just go out and smoke. Come on, let's go out and smoke." So we kind of got him outside. And then the barracks petty officer came outside to smoke too. And he attacked him, dude. And no lie, my friend got in between him. And he was like, just call barracks police right now. And I was like, he's like, just call him now. So I called him up. And I was like, hey, guy's hitting petty officer. I don't know what to do. And I mean, they're all larger than me, man. They're like twice the size of you, you know, and they're wailing on each other. And the cops roll up, barracks police. Mm-hmm. No lie, they whip out their nightstick, I guess, the extendable one, and he looks at me and goes, "Which one?" And with the guy in the white, "Roger that," and they just start.
You have no idea. That's the way MPs are at Fort Hood.
Which one?
Dude, and
they have a hankering for that shit.
Oh yeah, and they handcuffed him, and the guy was crying. He was like, "You're crossing my finger. I got to my finger." And they're like, "Shut the fuck up!" And they brought him in, and I think he had like a, I don't know, 0.12 or something, or 0, whatever, you know, like.
Oh, the blood alcohol.
Yeah, it was like it was like only
breathalyzed him.
It was double maybe, and then they processed him out that night, and then I saw him because I had watched that night, and he didn't recognize that I was a part of it. Said hi to me after he like sobered up, and he was like, "Hey man,
drunk.
Dude."
Damn.
And the funny thing was the BPO came in and he was just like, "Hey, I just need your statement," and I said, "Okay," and he goes, I've pulled over women with 3 times the amount of blood alcohol content, and they're still driving fairly fine. I don't understand how this guy blackout drunk, and he was like probably 5'10", 220, 240.
Shit.
Big dude. Yeah, man.
He probably hadn't drank anything or eaten anything all day. That'll do it.
And then the worst thing was in our A school, we had this cool Chief Everyman. I mean, he was like this old school black dude, had a mustache, real cool dude. And this guy had walked in drunk out of his mind. He had woken up on the beach with half of his uniform on. So he just walked in without a top, just his white shirt on and his pants and one shoe. And our chief is like, "Shipmate, you need a request coming aboard." And he said, "Fuck you." And he called him the N-word, pulled out his dick, and just started peeing on the floor. And our chief just, kind of gave him an "oh, really" face, Just took a second, called the MPs. And we had a first class, much bigger dude. He's also a black guy. And he was like, "Any of y'all motherfuckers call me that shit, I'm going to kill you." He's like, "That, you better best believe that is the coolest head I have ever seen in that situation. Because, I don't give a shit if you're small. I don't give a shit if you're drunk. I will fucking kill you." Dude. Yeah, and he, I think he had I don't even know how blood alcohol content works. 0.135 or something, like a point.
I mean, 0.08.
0.08 is drunk.
Okay, yeah. So he had like a 0.165 then, or something like that.
So like twice that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I think it's like once you get into the 0.2 range is when it starts becoming deadly.
Yeah, you have it. Starts,
okay, then honestly,
your liver doesn't process it and starts going to the blood.
It was something like, it was a 3, man. I don't want to say it was like a 0.3 something, but it was way up there, dude. And they were like, "I don't understand how this guy was conscious, let alone saying words." So yeah, man, we never really get too shit faced whenever we get overseas, man. I mean, some people did, but you went out to go see stuff, like that wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Mr. Dillon?
I was just thinking we should go ahead and wrap it up. About an hour in.
Is that a sex term, sir?
Wrap it up. You can be.
Well, all right. Thanks for stopping by, Dillon and Ron. Appreciate you coming up with this idea. It's pretty interesting. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of comments. Might have to explain ourselves in a few of these. But I guess, audience, if you guys have any questions, I mean, I wouldn't mind getting together and doing, maybe another 30 minutes of this.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, you guys want to say anything closing out here?
There's too many people in Austin.
That's good. That's another topic.
Yeah, that's our next video then. All right. Well, we appreciate you coming by. And again, our sponsor is Lightning Speed Briefs, the briefs you dream about. All right. You guys have a good one.